Are live for Season 8, the brand new season of the Vgtr GT3 Sprint Season, Springtime Showdown, whatever it's called. I am joined here by my two lovely co-commentators, Ben Langford.
Hello there.
And John.
Howdy.
And as some of you might remember, Ben Langford from Season 7, he was the championship contender, but never happened, did it?
Yeah, no, I didn't. We all know why, but that's not the point now. It's down to everyone else this season to not do what happened to me. So
exactly,
it's looking good already.
And well, we are in qualifying right now, and we joined a bit late due to some technical issues on my side. And Abe Santoma is on pole position with 2 purple sectors. I presume the first purple sector was due to Steve Stevenson.
Mattis has said to turn yourself up a little. Yep.
I will do that indeed. Right. Yes. Steve Stevenson. Has he got the first purple sector, or is it someone else possibly right up now on the track? Yes, Steve Stevenson has got the purple first sector with a 54.725, and Abe Santoma with a 54.75, and Steve Stevenson, fastest man on the track right now, 53.935.
Man, he's really pushing to catch it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, and so he's seen that immediately as Abe. He's already out the pits, wants to get back on the track immediately. No time to waste, only 11 minutes left. Exactly. Short quality, but a lot of time to be gained.
And Steve Stevenson was going purple through the first sector yet again, currently losing that advantage and actually going 1/10 slower, so this might not be the lap to get that provisional pole back, or to secure the provisional pole. I'm not saying to get it back. And he's actually gone off the track, so that is his lap over.
Yeah, sad to say it might not be competitive for him the rest of the race.
Yeah, just looking at the gaps between P5 and P9 here, there's 3/10 covering those few positions, and there's a fair few different cars in there. Should be quite interesting to see who actually comes out on top of that, because we've got the front 4 kind of on their own. I mean, first 2, then the second 2. It's kind of giving shades of the F1 season at the moment. So yeah, it's looking quite interesting in the mid-pack. You've got those guys there, and once you look beyond P9, you've got a couple of drivers, the P10, 11 and 12,
13.
Slavic, Lewis and Ramadan.
13 is actually the current pole sitter for the AMs. Behind him, Ganahari Hutama, and then Ethan Reed, who's also thinking of fighting for the championship. And as some of you might have heard or might have seen, we are now sponsored by HSR Sim Racing, and they will be providing the prizes for this season for the championship winners, both the AM and the pros. And you can probably check them out by typing in hsimracing.com in Google. They sell some very nice kind of cool sim racing items.
Yeah, big thanks to HSR for helping us out.
Indeed. Now back to qualifying. Has anybody started a lap to improve? Well, Ferdi Jera Ramadan, the triple one, he is going 5/10 quicker right now. He does have somebody slower in front of him, it looks like, so it might impede him a little bit. Is that Ben Koo actually in front of him? I'm not sure. It looks like he's getting out of his way, though that did impede him a little bit. He's only improving by 4/10, which still will bring him up quite a bit up the grid. I think 2 positions here. He's gone from 12th to 10th. Right behind Eric Gazelle.
Yeah, just on board with Abe at the moment, looking to see if he can improve to P1. It's looking quite clean and tidy so far. It's not looking on the limit, as you would want it to be in these kind of final stages of qualifying, but it's looking steady. No missed apexes, not running wide, using a lot of the track there. But coming up to the key part of the track now, like very, very fast through here. You've got to push in. Looking at it, you went a little bit wide there, so time to be gained there, but you never know. I can't see the deltas at the moment. You can, so he may be up, he may be down.
He is going purple by 1/10 right now, He's kind of on the line. I think he's more hundredths of a second up because it was going from 0.1 to 0.0. So we'll see. Those hundreds are critical because between him and Steve Stevenson, there is only, what is that, 45 thousandths or 400ths of a second between them, or 500ths. So we'll see as he comes through the final chicane, up to the final corner. He's got someone slower in front of him. They let him go. Did that impede him? And he's got Ayrton Senna in front of him. Yes, that does impede him.
He might have a bit of a toe here.
He is down on his time. Sadly, it looks like Ayrton Senna might have impeded him just a little bit. That is a 54.225. And, well, now his next lap is compromised a little bit. I think he didn't have the wide entry into the corner, though he is improving currently into the first sector.
Looking at P3 and 4, now on the same exact lap time.
Ooh,
so,
yes.
Even down to the thousandths might not even be enough to make the difference between a position here, but that will get very, very close. If that's their race pace, they're very close on race pace as well. That could be a fight to watch 100%. But Costa are currently in the pits, the lead Ferrari. And speaking of, he's now left the pits, so completely scratch what I said.
Indeed, and Abe Santama still pushing it to the limits. He's got another slower car in front of him. But he is 1/10 up, coming towards the kind of carousel corner. I'm not sure what the name is.
I think it's that. But it's a very carousel-esque corner.
Exactly. Though, as Abe Santama is going quicker, so is Steve Stevenson. Both of them setting purple sectors here and there, improving as they go through the corners. And Abe Santama actually, yellow flag, having to back down since he got a bit too close to the Mercedes in front of him, so hoping to get a fresh start as the final 10 minutes of this, or the final 7 minutes of this qualifying begin.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at purple sectors. It seems P5 and the M4 has actually got the fastest middle sector, so there may be a bit more in store for him. Could actually get up to P3 at the very least, maybe even close to the front five. It might be a three-horse race at the front if he can capitalize on the rest of those sectors. But yeah, everyone's evenly spread with the purple sectors. No driver has more than one purple at the moment, so it's looking good. With 6 minutes to go, it's anyone's game here.
It is indeed anyone's game, just like Mohammed Irfan, who's going 4/10s quicker, coming towards the final chicane. It is a very short third sector, about 17 or 16 seconds if you get it right. He did get it right. He's up on his time by 8/10, 9/10, a whole second. He might be here for provisional pole. Hold on. Mohammed Irfan, he's going to come across the line now. He is 7th. And is he going to go? Yes, he is.
Yes,
he's got the provisional
lap.
pole by 1 whole 10th. But Abe Santama also beginning his final couple of laps, and he was going purple. He's going a 10th quicker through the first sector. Well, this is going to be a very exciting first qualifying of the season. Mohammed Irfan coming from 7th all the way up to provisional pole. Wow.
Yeah, that was out of nowhere seemingly. Where did that pace come from? From 7th to 1st, that's a whole I think it was a second improvement.
It was indeed a whole second. Maybe he got impeded on his one of his laps, because this is a very big improvement, as you say.
Yeah, well, it's going to come down to those small improvements now, because 1/10 covers the top 3. It's very, very close. And as I said, with now P6, he could even improve more. So the whole top 8 covered by a second, which is nice to see. Top 5 covered by half a second, so it's going to get very close. 4 minutes to go. Is anyone going to be able to pull out that magic lap, Fernando Alonso style magic lap in the final few?
As you're saying that, Abe Santama going a 10th quicker to the final chicane. Through the final chicane he goes. He actually lost a bit of time there. He was going purple, now he's just going a regular time. No, he's improved through the final corner. Can he get the provisional pole here? Can he get 2nd place at least? And sadly, it's not an improvement, is it? It was very close. It was a 5,000ths between his and personal, between his last lap and his personal best. And he's gone back to the pits.
That's consistency, so there's some positives there, but it showed that there was definitely time to be gained, so everyone's going to have one more chance, maybe. At least Steve Stevenson and Abe Santom are in the pits. Well, he's coming out now, but it seems they're going to have one, maybe two more chances, while Eartham's continuing around, probably fueled for a bit of a longer run on these tyres. So it's going to be interesting to see. Will those little bit extra worn tyres on Eartham's car impact him to the final few laps of qualifying? Or will the momentum that he's carrying him through the laps actually carry him to a faster time? I mean, at the moment, he's being held up behind the Lamborghini, I think,
Robert
of...
Besant.
Yes, so at the moment, I doubt he'll be going any quicker, but you never know. He might have a tow, but at the moment, I don't think he will be going too much quicker behind. But as I say that, there is now 3 minutes left. That's enough for about 2 laps, so we'll see what everyone can do. Game on.
Indeed we will. It looks like actually Mohammed Irfan went into the pits because this is his out lap, it is telling me. So maybe he just changed his tires for the final 2 laps. I think, can you do 2 laps here, you reckon?
I think so, yeah. If you cross the line with like 2 minutes to go, you can do 1 whole lap and then another one. So as long as you cross the line pretty much with enough time to do 1 lap and you don't screw that lap up, you can do 2. So I think everyone currently out or about to start a lap should be good. So we'll see. Everyone will have at least 1 run. That's the main thing.
Indeed it is. It
Yeah.
looks like Mohammed Irfan is matching his fastest first sector right now. He is catching towards Robert Besant, which might be a bit of an advantage, but mostly a disadvantage. I'd say to Mohammed Irfan, how, you know, from your perspective, how much does the dirty air affect pace on this track and in this game?
Well, I find that it does depend on the track, like you said, and on the cars it is different as well. From my experience, a good example I can give is I did a race at Spa in the AMR, and during the stints, the wash through the corner straight before Blanchimont, I don't know the name of it, but you'll know the one I'm talking about. The aero wash through that corner was that bad of an F1 car. You couldn't go flat out through there. So I think the drivers maybe through here will be struggling, especially in some bigger cars in front of them that are taking out a bigger chunk of air. So you ideally don't want to be too close behind another car. That's always a given, but some cars will be affected worse than others. I mean, that McLaren got out of the way there quite nicely indeed, so he shouldn't be too affected by it. But aero wash is a thing on here, and it can be quite drastic in some tracks. But around this track, there's a lot of straights, so it shouldn't be too big of a problem. But in corners like the chicane, as we see, I think he might have invalidated there. I'm not sure.
He did indeed invalidate. He is now going to be pushing for his final lap. It looks like Abe Santoma was improving yet again, but losing those crucial tenths.
This is his final lap, actually. So
Yeah.
this is his only chance to improve beyond 3rd position. So if he can't improve, it will be P3 on the grid at best for the first round. Obviously, a new car for Abe. He's driven the last 2 seasons, I believe, in his beloved Porsche. He's driving a very new style of car, so it might be just a little bit of a learning curve for him. He's a adaptable driver, quick driver, of course. A lot of the guys in here are, so it won't be too long before we see him back up there, but there may be a little element of adjusting to the new car, the new style of driving right here, and clock hits 0, so anyone who is coming across the line now, that is their last lap. Abe is actually going to be one of the first to. He pops over the chicane twice there.
And it looks like he has lost the time, so he is not going to be improving beyond 3rd place. Can anybody steal 3rd place away from him? Well,
looking at it, Steve Stevenson, he's one of the last guys to come across the line, bar the number 12, who is Eric Gazelle. But if track evolution is a thing, Steve's going to have the best of it here, along with Eric. So keep an eye out here. It might not be over right until the very end. So,
well, I hate to break it. Steve Stevenson currently going 4 tenths, 5 tenths slower than his personal best. So it doesn't look like he's going to be improving too much. Eric Gazelle, he's going 2 tenths quicker. Jake Lewis right now on the track going 3 tenths quicker. And that's it actually for the improvers. That's it.
Yeah, well, it looks like Irfan has got that pole position. Shock pole position, if I say so myself. Came out of absolutely nowhere. Yeah. Oh, it's Costa goes quicker. Costa goes quicker. Nearly actually beats Abe. I think Lima did as well, but That's now 3/10 between the top 5. It's going to be close. It's going to be close.
Yeah, but as Jake Lewis now comes across the line, he is 2/10 up on his lap. And where is that going to land him? From 14th. And he's going to stay in 14th place, unfortunately for him. Camille Taha also finishing his lap. Eric Gazelle, he's going to be the final of the drivers right now to cross the line. He's actually 6/10 up. Can he get ahead of Acosta here? He's from 7th place. And he's going to jump up to 5th place. And he's actually behind Tim Costa, but only by 0.02 of a second.
Good performance from Gazelle there. That, again, came out of nowhere. Very surprising.
What?
There's now 6 people for looking like for the race win. Going to be interesting. Well, that's some very good performances there. I'd say, I mean, Costa, I think he, along with Stevenson, are 2 of the newer drivers, and Lima as well. So it's good to see a mix of, I wouldn't say old drivers, but established drivers in Vgtr, along with new drivers, mixing up in the top 6 there. And there's a little bit of a gap to P7 and P8. Maletskovsky and Morris in the M4s respectively. So those 2 will be able to duke it out for the back end of the top 10. And then you look sort of another separate pack of cars from P9 down to really P15. And speaking of P15, that's Sutama on pole 40 AMs. So by 0.4 as well, a big gap.
Indeed it is. And Gatti Balance taking 2nd place. Limpar Berthold 4th. Oh no, 3rd. Oh my god, I'm getting really messed up. Yeah, Limpar Berthold 3rd. Chris Rice 4th. Then it's Roberto Caboni, Rafif Brehista, and Ethan Reed, who was very hoping to, you know, get that championship win. He was really, you know, going to be fighting it out with everybody, but doesn't look like it's, you know, a strong start for him at all. Anthony Camacho, it looks like he's one of the final pros on the grid. He's going to be starting 23rd. Unlucky for him. I think that is, counting the grid, I think that's 16th out of the pros. So not the best. Not the best he could have done, but we'll be hoping for more from him. By the way, he is driving the Porsche, which is also very new to him. So yes,
quick shout out to Finn Falkenberg. He was not feeling too confident about his pace. Obviously, he hadn't practiced it a lot. That's what he told us before the race. But puts it in P30. Good job to him. He's actually among some battles here, so going to be able to learn some more, and that's going to be something to watch. It'll be nice to see how he does and how he gets on. But good job to him.
Actually, yeah, he's in a very good pack over here with Mohamed Bintang, Demas Adiasta himself, Venus, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that name, Ayrton Senna and Benjamin Bedoff. They were all in about a second off each other. So, yeah, definitely a very good pack there. But we are finally on the grid for the race. And, okay, yes. I've heard that you've prepared some of your notes. So, what do you think, who do you think is going to win the race today and why?
Well, you know what? My notes don't mean anything because I've originally put down 3 people for my predictions to fight for the win. I put Abe Santama, one of the other drivers who, well, 2 drivers who aren't actually here today. They weren't able to make it. And you can look forward to them causing some fireworks in the coming races. JS Casingina. He has a very long name and I don't want to butcher it, so I just said JS. Apologies if you're in the stream. But him as well as Johnny Marnham. Those 3 guys, we have seen Abe's quick. But Casingina and Marnham very quick. So I actually put them down. Both of them are new to VGTR. But considering they're not here, I'll just say some quick stuff about Abe and why I think his experience here might actually benefit him in the longer race. So he has switched from Porsche to M4, basically the opposite styles of cars. Porsche is good over 1 lap, a bit worse in the race and doesn't tend to like bumps, and is also quite weak at the start of a race in the first few laps. But the M4 is the opposite. It is good for longevity in a race. So compared to like the Audis and the Ferraris and the Porsches around him, all of which are quite sketchy cars, especially over the chicane at the end of the lap here, it will be interesting to see what he can do, because with Gazelle starting directly behind him, he might be at risk of being overtaken at the start with the traction of that Porsche. However, with Earthen's experience, he's also been in here for a while. He's been getting quicker and quicker, which is good to see. He definitely has what it takes to take the fight to everyone else. The question is, being in a Ferrari, does the car have the strength over the curbs and bumps for the race? The same applies with the Audi, not as much. So it might be a little bit cautious for those guys throughout the race. They might not be pushing at 100%, whereas in cars like the M4, arguably the AMG, and obviously the Sol Nissan from Berthold down in 18th, those kind of cars can push throughout a race at almost 100% without worrying. But with all that said, I would obviously, being biased to my teammate in P2, I would love to say Steve would take the win.
Well, actually,
however, I think Earthen might do it. I know that's a boring pick. Call me boring, but I think with the sudden gain of pace that came out of nowhere, I think that will be a very strong omen for this race. I know it was only half a tenth, but in a Ferrari around this track, which tends to not be a quick car, I find around here, that's good pace. So I think he's got a good shot, but I don't know anything. I'm not the Oracle. I just want a good race, and hopefully these boys keep it clean into turn one. Very, very difficult corner, and we have some good fights. So, yeah, what about you?
Oh, well,
What do you think?
I think pretty much you summed up what I was thinking. Yeah, you know what? It could be anybody who will take the win. You know, in the past couple of seasons, there has been, you know, absolute wrenches into the races. I mean, yourself, remember in Barcelona when the sudden rain came out and you were leading by over 30 seconds and you went into the pits, you changed for wets, and you finished 4th, okay? Like, things can happen, and rain can happen.
Now. This is twice you mentioned these things.
I know, I just have to.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, yeah, it can change at any minute. I don't know what the weather situation for this race is like, but when we all jumped into the lobby on the little weather indicator and the loading screen, it did say rain was a possibility. And it's only an hour race, and we have 30-minute slots at the top. No rain forecast for now. However, for all we know, there could be rain in the end. However, saying that, looking at the skies, there doesn't seem to be too many clouds. So anything, it can all change in a minute. Like the finale at Monza. At the start was crazy from last season. 3 of us, the championship contenders, didn't get wiped out, but there was an incident and it messed up the pack a little. The rain also messed it up, and then I was leading, Abe was a little bit far behind, and then I came into the pits and my car didn't go. So that could happen to any of these guys today. For all we know,
Abe Santana
Costa could jump the front 3 at the start, and then in the pits the car might not go, or he might get a drive-through, because the pit lane here is pretty sketchy. If the pit marker board for the speed limit is gone, we will see quite a few drive-throughs, I think. So that's also something to be aware of in the race. That could be quite a factor.
Yeah, and we all know Abe Santana does have the Thrustmaster branded gear, so he might also have a bit of a moment, we'd say.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. Obviously, we don't hope for that, but that is a possibility, and that could definitely throw him out of the race win possibility, or even of finishing the race at all. But so far, from looking at Mohammed Irfan's past seasons and the races that he's done, the man is not just quick in qualifying. He has definitely got great race pace, and well, he's definitely got good, you know, offense and defense and everything that you need for racing. So Mohammed Irfan is definitely a top contender. Somebody in the chat saying that Steve can take the win today. So he's also a
Definitely
contender.
a possibility.
Indeed it is. Tim Costa, we've never seen him race so far. So as Paulo Limo, maybe you've seen him in the endurance series, or in the endurance races, sorry. But we'll see indeed. Also, the fight for P1 in the AMs will be pretty close. Kanahari Hutawa starting directly in front of Limpar Berthold, who has shown himself again and again that he is a great driver as well. Last time winning in Imola was an amazing drive from him, coming from, I think, 3rd or 4th place in the AMs to taking that win in the sprint race. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, just briefly before the race start, Thank you for the little raid there, Orion. Got another
Yeah.
couple of views. Hope you all enjoy the stream. Yeah, we're lining up now. Hopefully no one spins before the race start. We've seen it before.
Matters.
Yeah, so hopefully we don't see anyone swap ends before the start. But yeah, looking at everyone looking eager to go here for the season 8.
Do you want to take the season start? I am sharing my screen with you if you want to see. Take the lead.
I would love to. Okay, let me.
Oh, your microphone's
hop
gone.
on.
You might.
Okay, you take the lead.
I
then.
will
You go.
take. I will take indeed. Right, Mohammed Irfan. He's going to be waiting for the green flags, and they go live. Steve Stevenson gets a very good start. He's actually alongside Mohammed Irfan, already coming side by side, and actually in front of him for P1. Abe Santama. He's just hanging a bit behind, coming to the inside, defending from Tim Costa and Paulo Limo. It looks like Paulo Limo might try and take the outside line of Abe Santama. Steve Stevenson, they're having a great start ahead of Mohammed Irfan already. Mohammed Irfan down in second place now, and. Has there been any crashes? Have you guys seen?
There's actually one happening right as we speak. One of the Ferraris involved with another Honda. I can't exactly pick out who. One of the Mercedes is around as well. I think that might be Palin. Yeah, in number 25, he's been turned around. But turning our attention back to the front now that my mic is working. Yeah, Stevenson with a perfect start in that Audi. I think the acceleration on that car really helping him out there.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, we all know that the Audi is very iconic for the starts, but can he hang on to that lead and, you know, do the strategy correctly all this time? Abe Santama, he was hanging very closely to the back of Mohammed Irfan, currently losing some time. Paulo Limo, though, catching him very, very quickly. And also, it looks like Tim Costa, Alexander Malatsovsky, Gatti Balaz, and Dries Verhulst all in some sort of collision, because there was a little bit of an overlay thing there. But Abe Santama, yeah, not really gaining, but not really losing to Mohammed Irfan too much, it looks like, at the start.
Yeah, I'm just looking further down the pack. There's so much side-by-side action going on, and we basically finished lap 1.
Oh, and it looks like in the background there was Beneslero Vinassis and Benjamin Koo. They came together coming out of that corner. Venus might actually be going for an overtake here on Ethan Reed, and yes, he does. Can he get another overtake into the chicane on, looks like Brandon Draws. Brandon Draws making a very good move on Anthony Camacho. 3 wide into that corner. What an absolute overtake by Brandon Draws. Remember, he started 36th, already up into 21st. Anthony Camacho might be trying to go side by side with him, but the straight line speed not really helping him out right now. Brandon Draws.
What a move. Already a
Absolutely.
contender for the overtake of the season. There's another dive bomb back there. I think that's from Carboni in the Honda. Looks like he's actually going to get it done. Fair play to him. Now around the outside of the 19th Ferrari. Good move. Overtakes happening everywhere.
And there's actually overtakes happening in the background as well. Mohammed Bintang trying to go round the outside of Felix Palin. Felix Palin, it looks like he might have had a bit of damage after being turned around. But Mohammed Bintang not getting too close right now. Ralph Vandermeer also locked in a bit of a battle with Robert Bezin and Ethan Reed. Ralph Vandermeer, our very lovely VGTR admin who's hosting the servers for us as well. A very special thank you to that. But he is getting closer to Robert Bezin as we speak. And where did he start, actually? Ralph Vandermeer. He started... I actually started 27th, currently 27th. Did not gain, did not lose. That is a very good thing to have. Driving the Aston Martin. Probably one of the more stable cars compared to the Lamborghini.
Definitely. Yes, indeed. And looking further back, and I think the AMG that got spun around for, I think it's Palon 25,
Yeah.
already gained another 6 positions from being at the back of the pack in 1 lap. That's really impressive. He's on a charge. He wants those positions back, and well, to be fair to him, he's getting them back. So let's see how much progress he can make. He's currently the lowest pro. I think his target will probably be Camacho at the moment in P22.
Exactly.
I did see someone in chat earlier cheering him on, so I'm just letting you guys know, giving you some updates on how his progress is going, and it's looking really good for now.
Making a bit of a mistake coming through that chicane, it looks like. Robert Bezin, oh! He was just getting overtaken by both Ayrton Senna and Ethan Reed. They nearly made
here we
contact,
go.
and is it going to go 4 wide here? Hold on. Oh, Felix Palin coming through the inside. I think they nearly went 3 wide or 4 wide. Actually, Robert Bezin going 3 wide with Ethan Reed and Mohammed Bintang. Mohammed Bintang going to take those 2 positions. No, he won't. Ethan Reed nearly making contact with Robert Bezin. Coming through the first corner. What is going on? Behind them, Dmitry Tarasenko also wanting to get a piece of this, but not able to do much there at all.
It's a free-for-all out there. Everyone's going great guns here. It's 5 minutes into the race, and we've probably got upwards of 20, 30 overtakes.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a free-for-all, but it's a very, very tame free-for-all, as one might say.
Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Earthen's down to P7. What's happened here?
What did happen? Hold on. Looks like his last lap was very terrible. It was a 58.2, at least compared to his normal race pace. Yeah, something happened. Down into 7th place. Looks like all of us missed it. John, did you catch what happened to Irfan?
No,
I'm
we need
looking
to
on the
catch it
replay at the moment.
Must have had a incident.
Yeah, maybe.
I think it was on the first lap. You know what? On the first lap, coming through the chicane. Yeah, on the first chicane,
Yeah,
he
he's in the
completely
draft.
went wide.
Oh, that is
Wow.
terrible. But oh, and he's off again, the same place it looks like, and
Wow.
he's losing a ton of
Wow.
positions. Furniture, Ramadan, Alexander Malatovsky, and Kamil Taha all overtaking him.
We'll see.
Well, I did say this. I did say the Ferrari is sketchy over those curbs, and that's just proving my point at the moment that he's got the pace. But have I cursed him? Have I cursed him in saying that he'd win?
I'm afraid you jinxed him, and it also
No.
seems that he was so fast in qualifying, but he's not able to do a clean lap. Maybe nerves are having something to do with that. He's started in first, and now he's all the way back.
Indeed. James Morris was catching to Eric Gazelle just a bit ago. Now running 7/10. It looks like Kanahari Hutama also fell down a couple of positions. Remember, he started on pole position for the AMs, and now he's down in 5th place. And that only happened recently because I saw him tumbling down the order. Rafik Prestista and Chris Rise all overtaking him. But it looks like he might be trying to gain that position back because he's only 4 tenths away from the Bigo racing car of Rafif. Everything's going on today.
Wow, we're looking at the front gap. It's coming down. It's a purple lap from Abe Santimer, fastest lap at the moment. As I was saying in that M4, you can push that car to its absolute maximum in a race situation, and it's now showing he is closing little by little, maybe a 10th per lap, but a 10th per lap for 10 laps. That's a second, and he's less than that behind, so who knows. We could see a little bit of a move maybe into turn 1. He's closing here. He's gaining a lot. There's a lot of straight line speed on that car in the toe.
Mohammed.
Now 4 tenths of a second.
Mohammed Irfan also going to be going for a move here on Alexander Malatovsky. Can he actually do it into the chicane? No, he doesn't. Alexander just cutting in front of him, and I think Mohammed Irfan is smart enough to think and to not go for the overtake into the chicane, considering he's had terrible time going through it. This time coming through it clean, and well, can he get the run? Can he get the toe towards turn 1? Mohammed Irfan, can he try and start to gain those positions back? He's 10th right now. Can he get 9th by the end of this turn? I don't think he will, as he's a bit too far
There is
back.
a battle going on ahead, I think.
There is a battle.
Ramadan and Taha going against it. Taha stays ahead, but my eyes are fully on this lead fight. Abe does look like the much quicker driver at the moment in that M4. So I have a feeling in a couple of laps' time we're going to see a pretty simple straight line pass on one of the straights.
Ooh,
Yeah, a little bit of a slide there from Stevenson in the Audi. Just those small little mistakes can make a difference. A little extra scrub on the tyres, a little bit of extra heat, tiny bit more tyre wear over the course of a race can make the difference between a position.
All right, so I hear you say that he might pass him on the straight. So you think that the BMW does have the straight line advantage over the Audi
Yes.
then? Okay.
It does. I was watching down up to the chicane last lap, and he gained like 2-3 tenths. And that may be down to setup, but from my experience, I have seen that the Audi actually is quite a slow car in a straight line. Like, watch here. He's
All
quite
right.
close behind. I'd say maybe 3
tenths.
tenths, but he'll
He's
be
5 tenths.
right on his rear coming up to the chicane. You
Right,
can
so
see
4
the amount of
tenths.
speed he's gaining.
3 tenths. Yeah, he's gained about 2 tenths right now. Can he get it down to 3? No, he doesn't. But yeah, he did actually gain a whole 2 tenths. Steve Stevenson makes a
there we
massive
go.
mistake, and Abe Santama now he's got all the room to go down the inside into the final corner. Steve Stevenson not really putting up too much of a fight, knowing that he's made that mistake.
But
Just
the slipstream.
And
The
Abe
slipstream, he
Santama
might
now.
be able to fight back. There you go. There you go. He's just barely gaining in the slipstream, but he's still gaining. Abe feels the need to defend as Stevenson goes to the outside.
And can he
Advantage
get
of
him
how
round
he's
the
on brakes.
outside? No, he doesn't. He's just
He
ran out of
cannot.
room.
And
Steve
all this
Stevenson
has brought Lima into the fight. It's now a 3-horse race.
is indeed a 3-horse race. The 2 Audis and the BMW all fighting for P1. James Morris falling a bit behind all of this. Irfan also struggling to get past Vgtr Ramadan for a couple of laps now. But that is exactly how you lose the lead. Anything can happen. And, well, Steve Stevenson showing that crucial mistakes like that could cost you the lead, at least.
Oh, there's a crazy battle going on down in P26. 3 cars for 1 position. Lots of cars in the train here. I think at least 5. And I think that's Bidoff getting around the outside into turn 2. Is he going to do that on the Porsche? Surely not. Yeah, no, he loses out on traction.
Somebody saying in the chat that Steve might have lost PSI hitting the chicane curbs. Now, does that happen?
Very true.
Do?
It does. If you hit curves wrong, it's quite common at tracks like Alton Park, tracks with pretty rough curbs in general, and that is one of those kind of curbs. You can lose a couple PSI and it starts to slow puncture. I mean, Abe has kind of run away a little bit, so you know what? Ghost, you may have actually made a really good point because Lima is right on Stevenson's tail now. I can get confirmation if that happened after the race, because obviously I do know him myself. But yeah, he's now looking the slowest of these front 3. Suddenly the tides have turned, and yeah, Abe is running away with this.
Indeed he is. As we're just looking at a bit of a 4-way battle here, it looks like, for P7 between Kamil Taha, Vgtr Ramadan, Mohammed Irfan, and Alexander Malatsovsky. It looks like Dries Werhulst, something happened to him. He's also tumbling a bit down the grid. Vgtr Ramadan in the slipstream of Kamil Taha. Kamil Taha in the Porsche, this probably the slowest car on the straight, and Vgtr Ramadan going round the outside. Kamil Taha does have the more grip through the first corner and able to keep that position for now. Vgtr Ramadan, though, on the inside through these next couple of corners. Can he maybe dive bomb him into the 3rd corner, I think it is? And I don't think he will. Just holding a bit back. Jake Lewis also in this battle now too, so is Patrick Slowick.
Yeah, 5-car train now because Malaskovsky has kind of gone away. He's gained about 6-7 tenths on these guys, and that's going to give him enough breathing space to kind of focus, put his head down, and move forward. These guys are going to be fighting behind. He can just focus on his own race. But the gap at the front now, 1 second. He has broken the 1 second mark. I know that doesn't mean as much in GT racing because DRS isn't the thing, but that's still a statement because not long ago he passed him and now he's already a second ahead. So the pace is definitely there. I feel like it's going to be not too long before Lima gets past Stevenson as well. But behind them, it's kind of steady as you go, really. There's seconds between each other and then a big gap between P7. So you've kind of got this pack at the front and then everyone else, really.
Yeah, indeed. It is a very kind of chill race for P4 and P5 and P6. Obviously, they will be pushing to get the next position, but I feel like most of them will be trying to, don't know, conserve tires or fuel save. I'm not sure how much fuel saving actually means in these races, because I you know, with mandatory refueling, I don't think you need to fuel save at all, but maybe some tire saving so you can push at the end of the stint. As we just saw Mohammed Irfan nearly getting passed by Jake Lewis, and actually he might get past. He
might actually.
Yeah.
He got a really bad exit out of the final corner, stuck behind Ramadan, and now
Jake Lewis has the inside nearly. I'm not sure that was contact.
Maybe there. There's been an incident at the final corner. I'm not sure who it is. I think it's...
And that's
Oh, yeah, Brandon Draws. One of
sadly, yeah.
Palin again in another incident. Not going his way today.
And actually, I think it might have been Brandon Draws and Francesco Pin, because Francesco Pin coming into the pits now. That promotes Ralph Vandermeer, Benjamin Badalf up one position. Ferdy Jera Ramadan, yellow flag.
Oh, it looks like he's disconnected.
He's
in the trees for me.
Yeah, he's in the trees for me too, and that is very unlucky for him.
What a shame.
He's back.
He's
he
back.
Yeah, he's back.
He's in the middle of the track, and he's disconnected.
And he's gone again. he thought twice about disconnecting there. He was in the trees, decided to come back for a little visit, and then decided against it. But
yeah, these things can happen.
Yeah, they can happen, unfortunately. The good thing about Vgtr is we've got a lot of people across the world racing in the same league, ranging from people in Indonesia to America, anyone in Europe. It's good to see, but that is the unfortunate nature of these kind of things. Further away you are, the harder it is to connect to a server, and these things tend to happen. As there we go, that's what I was talking about.
Polo Lima getting
there
much
you go,
closer
two of
to
them.
Steve Stevenson.
Do drive-throughs. Right?
Oh, there's
Indeed.
two drive-throughs.
Two drive-throughs. Yeah, further down the pack, admittedly, or stop go 30s.
Stop go 30s. Yeah, Francesco Pin and Robert Bezin, both for speeding in the pit lane.
Ghost in the chat is saying that the Lambo of Pin had an unsafe re-entry and caused a collision between those guys. Didn't catch it live, either of us, but thank you for the info there. Doing us a good favour. And now, you were mentioning not long ago, Artie, that Morris was gaining
a bit
on
too
these
far,
guys.
yeah.
Well,
now he's
right on the back of both of them.
Indeed.
Gazelle was dropped off, Costa has dropped off, but Morris has found some pace. Let me check his last lap, actually.
It was a
I can't do that, never
54.4.
mind.
It was a 54.4, which was the fastest lap out of everybody last time out. Abe Santiment did a 54.5. James Morris currently better than the leader, and it looks like some magical pace has emerged from the BMW driver. I'm not really sure, because I don't think tires take this long to properly get into the window. Maybe James Morris was thinking of backing down a bit and then speed up as well, but it is very weird. He has gained quite a lot of time in the last lap, and we'll see if this continues. As Gatti Ballas
at the moment, Palon and Rise are in the pits. Let's see if they get out safely without a stop go 30, because something's telling me that the pit board has been destroyed. I have a feeling. 2 stop go 30s in a row is quite uncommon, but Rise gets out safely. We'll see about Palon in a minute. But yeah, turning our attention back to that battle with Lewis, Irfan and Taha. I think Irfan's actually got past. Yeah, he has got past.
Yeah, he's got past Camille, Jake, and Patrick. So very good stuff by him. He's currently hunting down Alexander Malatsovsky. And it looks like Limpar Bertol also in a bit of a fight with Kanahari Hutama, who is, patiently been grinding out all of these positions. He was 6th, I think, a couple laps back, but now he's up into P3 in the AMs. James Morris, by the way, gaining a lot of time on Polo Lima. Polo Lima falling a long way back from Steve Stevenson. Steve Stevenson kind of, getting the pace, and he's done a 54.8 that last lap. Polo Lima only a 54.9, and yeah, Ferdy Jerry saying that his connection has indeed left the chat.
Yes, now we're seeing a bit of traffic in the front fight between P2 and P4. I think they've cleared it for the most part at the moment, but
and there's a penalty
because of the early pit stops.
There's a penalty for number 77, another stop go. Oh no, that's a cleared, sorry.
Yeah, he cleared it.
It's just saying it up in the front, and it looks like number 190 also has cleared his stop go as well now, so no more penalties for the drivers.
Interestingly, Stevenson has now suddenly found a little bit of pace as he almost actually runs into that back marker. I'm not sure who it is. I think it was Eddie Uster. So that time that he had gained has probably lost a little bit, but he gained a whole second. But
Polo Lima also.
There we go.
in a bit of trouble with the Bigo racing car, and now James Morris is very, very close. I don't think he's going to send it down the inside, but he's definitely going to try and, you know, get the better run towards turn 1. And as you said, the BMW having that straight line advantage. Can James Morris gain enough time and get him into turn 1 now? I don't think he will.
Pallant with another spin behind. Really not going his day today. But that's what drop rounds are for. But like you said, yeah, the straight line advantage with that M4 wasn't enough that time around. So who knows? Maybe it could have been a little bit of setup difference between Abe and Stevenson. But yeah, Morris definitely looking really racy at the moment. He's got, I think, a lot of pace in that car compared to Lima. That could be down to tyre wear. It could be down to just different stages of the race. But he is definitely the faster driver at the moment. I think it's a matter of time before he gets past. Looking further down the field, there's not really many battles until we look back to that same battle where Lewis is trying to go around the outside of Taha, around that awful corner that we all hate.
Actually,
and you know what?
He's got the position, indeed. Camille Taha not really able to defend that too well. And he was thinking of going down the inside. Now he's got Patrick Slowick, who might be pressuring him for P10. James Morris up in the front still trying to get past Paulo Lima, I feel.
Yeah, and looking down into the AMs, I feel like something might have happened because Berthold is now 4th place, and if I was correct, Hutama was behind him.
Hutama was indeed behind him, indeed.
So they have swapped positions, changed for the podium positions, but those guys are all still fairly close, so it's not over for the AMs yet, but admittedly at the front, the fight with the pros is where it's at, is now Morris is really close to Lima again, who's had another bad run through chicane. Is he going to think of diving it down the inside? No. Thinks better of it. But again, Lima runs a little bit wide. Morris with a little squirm, but he's a lot closer this time around, and this is definitely a chance. Coming into turn 1, is he going to have enough straight line speed?
And it doesn't look like he's gaining. No, looking on the onboard, he's not gaining any substantial amount of time or amount of gap to Paulo Lima there. For some reason, yeah, it looks like he's got a very high downforce setup. Not a lot of drag on that car.
Yeah, I was just about to say that I would have thought that he would have gained a lot more, especially in slipstream on a slower car in a straight line, but maybe it's working to his advantage. After all, he's a lot quicker than the rest of the guys at the moment, well, especially Lima, so I think that high downforce setup may be conserving his tyres a little bit more throughout the race. I'm not an engineer, so I wouldn't know those details. There's a reason why I don't use my own setups, but I would think that a higher downforce setup would help save tyres, less stress going through the tyres, less work going through them, because your car's got more grip in itself and you don't have to over rotate the car. That could be working in his favour. Even just a little bit would make enough difference, given he's 5/10 behind. But then the downside of that, you can't pass if you're behind because you don't have enough straight line speed. So he's going to have to get a little bit creative, see where Lima is struggling a bit. I mean, you can already see that he was struggling in the chicane, but yeah, he's going to spend a few laps scoping for weakness and hopefully make a strike and get that BMW up onto the podium.
Well, that's exactly what he'll be hoping for. Can Paulo Lima finally take the chicane cleanly? And again, having troubles through that chicane. James Morris seeing that as well in his windshield, and yet again getting closer through the final corner, not having that squirm anymore. And I think he's a bit further behind than he was last time out, so for sure he's not going to be making a move into the first corner. But as a driver yourself, do you think Paulo Lima might be feeling a bit of pressure having somebody like James Morris behind him, hunting him down, keeping in the 3/10 to 4/10 gap?
100%, because the closer you see someone in your mirrors, the more you think about like how close they are to the roof of your car. It's in the back of your mind, and it was actually a really good quote from one of the support races. I think it might have been Formula 3. The moment you start looking in your mirrors, that's the direction you go. Ooh. If you look backwards, you go backwards. If you look forwards, you tend to go forwards. So when you see someone behind you, it changes the way you approach your lap, because you're thinking, do I need to cover this corner? And that little lapse of concentration and focus in your own driving may lead you to go a little bit wider. Like there, he's gone a tiny little bit wider. Not much, but a little bit. And now that's compromised his exit. And to be fair, Morris has actually had a really nice run through there. So these kind of things will really affect you. And even though there is dirty air behind, it will be the advantage for Morris at the moment.
It does look like that indeed. He's actually closer through the sector than he ever was before. And with that common mistake that Paul Lima does through the chicane, you might start to wonder, will James Morris finally get his M4 into the podium places? Now we'll have to wait and see. Maybe Paul Lima can finally bank in a very good chicane entry and exit. That was a pretty good run through there. And actually, James Morris coming into the pits.
He might hit the wall there, actually.
Oh, he didn't.
Kept it out of the wall.
He did keep it out of the wall, though. That was very close. James Morris coming in for a pretty early pit stop, I'd say. I'm not sure what the strategy here is.
He might be looking for an undercut. It's quite a possible thing to do. It's not very strong in this game, but given how close he is, those small little tents can matter. So he did take quite an aggressive pit entry, so he could have either lost or gained a lot of time. But as long as he has a clean pit stop and doesn't come out in too much of traffic, I mean, given where he is at the moment, he'd kind of want to slot in between the 7 and the 1, 2, 3. But I'm not sure if he'll have enough. Yeah, that would be where I'd be aiming to come out. But if he can get in some clean air and push that car like hell, he could actually end up getting ahead of Lima, which is a clever move, I'd say, because it didn't look like he had enough straight line speed or any of that to come out and pass him on track. So as he does get dropped, you know what? He might come out in that gap.
Yeah, he will.
It's going to be close.
He will come out in that gap, and Brandon Draws also. Oh no, I think Brandon Draws
really late here. Nah, Draws has run wide. So there you go.
Wide, exactly. So now James Morris will have to put in one hell of an outlap and just continue pushing that car to the absolute limits. And maybe, as you say, he will indeed get in front of Paul Lima, especially if Paul Lima decides to change tires. Now, I'm not sure. I think James Morris did change tires because he did do a 32.2 second pit stop. That looks like a tire change to me, considering that there is a fixed refueling today. So James Morris will be hoping that his fresher tires and his newfound gap will get him ahead of Paul Lima in the long run.
Yes, and there's another incident right behind him, actually. The 222. I think that's Ethan Reed, who's unfortunately been spun around or has spun himself, but he's got going again. So we'll quickly turn back to Mr. Morris, and Lima's seen it. He's come in straight away, as has Gazelle. So this one lap could make a difference. All eyes on you now, Mr. Morris. What can you do? Can you get that position, or is Lima gonna have had the better pit cycle?
Mate, where is Paul Lima? I don't see him on my.
He's in the pits, as is Eric Gazelle.
Yeah, but why is Paul Lima down in 28th place?
That might just be a bug for you because he's showing up as P4 on my screen. So we'll keep an eye on that. But here comes Morris.
Here is Morris.
Lima's still in the pits. He's been dropped, so Lima is going again. Morris is now coming round into the final corner. I don't think it's going to be enough. It's going to be close.
It might be close because Paul Lima still has a long way to go. He's still not exited the pits at all.
I think he's got him. He has.
Oh, there
what
we
a
go.
masterstroke.
James Morris getting ahead of Paul Lima. And it still says for me that Paul Lima, for some reason, is down in 29th place.
I mean, if your screen shows it, then trust it. But there you go, then. Where has Morris gone on my screen?
Yeah, Paul Lima is indeed in 11th. James Morris.
Where is James Morris?
Where
is he disconnected?
No, James Morris isn't. He is running, but looking at the tab, he's 18th, while Paul Lima is 14th. But
I can see that now. What a confusing game. Well, we'll just wait till everything shuffles back. There we go. That's back to normal now. Everyone's all sorted
Yeah,
out.
indeed. For me too, James Morris finally getting that 15th place ahead of Paul Lima and actually ahead of him by 3 seconds. That undercut working beautifully for him.
There you go. Undercut can actually be quite powerful. So everyone who's coming in now, this may be a worry for Stevenson. Because if he gained 3 seconds on Lima, that could have either been Lima losing 3 seconds or Morris gaining 3. If it was the latter, then Stevenson's in trouble here for P2.
Indeed, there's actually a lot of people now coming into the pits. Jake Lewis, Alexander Malatsovsky, Kamil Taha, Gati Balas, Ganahari Hutama, Limpar Bertol, and actually it looks like at about the halfway mark, everybody's coming into the pits. So probably fueling, what, like 60 liters or 50 liters? So, yeah.
Roughly half race distance.
Indeed. Well, Chris Rise also getting closer and closer to Vin Falkenberg. Will Falkenberg actually having a pretty good race so far. Started in 30th place, now up to 22. He might be down to 23rd. No, he won't. Chris Rise has gone off the track in the Schumacher S's. A pretty easy thing to do. And he's not going to get passed by Felix Palin because Felix Palin is all the way down in 24th. Look at how many people are coming in and out the pits. Jake Lewis, one of them. Camille Taha still in the pits. That's a very long pit stop for him. Limpar Bertol also in pit stop.
There's been an incident at turn 1. Sorry to cut you off there. There's looked like a pile-up at first glance, but can't seem to find the numbers on my little scrolly thing. So
it looks like it was Francesco Pin and Robert Benson.
Drive-through penalty for track limits. Oh, he was having such a good race, and it's just gone out the window with that. That is a shame.
That is a shame indeed, because he's about to get past Alexander Malatsovsky. And actually, Eric Gazelle not having a great race at all. Looks like his pit stop was quite bad, because he was ahead of Alexander Malatsovsky before the pit stop. Now behind him. Coming into the carousel, trying to make a move.
Hutama's had a stop-go 30.
Oh,
that's going to be costly for him.
That is going to be costly since he was in the running for P1 a little while back. Oof. Abe Stanton also coming into the pits now as well. And
there we go. This is going to be interesting.
James Morris is
out.
Not anywhere close, so that's definitely out of the window. But Abe Santama now getting dropped. I think that was a pretty long pit stop, also changing his tires. And out of the pits. How much more ahead will he be ahead of James Morris? Well, the answer to that...
6 seconds.
Yeah, about 6 seconds.
Oh, very clean pit stop cycle for Abe there. It'll take a while to get his tires warmed a little, but
he had the same...
Luckily, he's ahead.
He's had the same amount lost in the pit stop as James Morris. They both had a 32.2 second pit stop, both changing tires and refueling, it looks like. So 2 of the best pit stops so far, apart from Jake Lewis, who did not change his tires. He's done a 27.3 second pit stop. He's running in 10th with older tires. Ralph Vandermeer now coming into the pits as well. So is Robert Caboni and Rafif Prestista. So is Dmitry Tarasenko. So then we'll see how the order will shuffle. Gati Balas still leading the AM race. Limpar Bertol in 2nd, Chris Rise in 3rd, and Ganahari Hutama coming into the pits again. He's already had one pit stop.
Go.
Ah, okay, stop go 2nd.
Stop go. Yeah, he's taking it very safe there. He doesn't want to get another one.
All right, we just had Stevenson come into the pits as well. He's just finding his pit box, and we'll see how much ahead Abe Santama will be. He's just coming towards the chicane now.
Now, if Stevenson is clever here, he could try not changing his tyres and gain track position. I think that would be a good strategy for track position and give him a chance to win this race. That would be what I would do if I was in his position. But we'll see what happens. He's still in the pit box.
Coming across the last corner. Now he's got somebody slow in front of him, but that's not going to impede him too much.
I think he's done just what I said, to be honest. He's going to come right
close. Oh, this is going to be
Abe.
very close between both Steve Stevenson and Abe Santama. There it is, Steve Stevenson, and Abe is ahead of him. Just by a little bit, and that was very close coming into the first corner. But Steve Stevenson, sadly for him, not too close, and looks like on old tires as well, because he has a very quick pit stop, as you say.
Well, that could be a game changer, because him being ahead of Abe could have either won him the race or not. But now him being behind Abe on old tires, he's going to be at risk of losing that position later on in the stint. 7 seconds to Morris. It may not seem like a lot. It might actually be a little less than what it's showing up as now. But 25 minutes on older tires compared to people on new tires. We saw it in Brands last season. The difference that new tires make, even on a shorter track, is quite a lot. So we'll have to see what that develops like over the race.
I hate to say, I think Eric Gazelle might have had a very big crash or something similar, because he's all the way down in 32nd and still in the pits.
Oh, yeah.
Ethan
I think he's
Reed.
retired.
Yeah, I think
His
he's retiring
drive-through
the
still
car.
wasn't served. He came in a while ago and didn't serve his drive-through fully, so I think he's unfortunately our first retirement. We've had a couple disconnects, I think, but it's looking like the first retirement as the final two to pit. Somewhat always seems to be Erfan is the last one to pit. I've noticed that. He
Yeah.
likes to go long on the first stint. So staying true to himself there, and he's coming into his box. Is he going to stop on his marks? There he goes. In fact, he's inside Eric Gazelle, which is not
Exactly.
something I thought I would ever say. But
Indeed, as Tim Costa is also in the pits. I think he came in before Mohammed Irfan, but he's having a pretty long pit stop as he gets passed by Steve Stevenson and Abe Santama. Steve Stevenson already falling a bit behind Abe Santama. When he came out of the pits, I think the gap was about a second. Now it is 1.6, 1.5 seconds. So, yeah, definitely those old tires not really helping him or giving him any sort of advantage. Mohammed Irfan still in the pit box. Actually, no, he's coming out. And he's going to be behind Alexander Malatsovsky and might be behind Jake Lewis. No, he won't be.
nice. Slide in between P7 and P8. Erfan will be, I think, a lot further behind than that. But yeah, it's these pit stops have been quite interesting. We've seen a lot of shuffling of positions through undercuts, overcuts, whatever you like. But some people have gained a lot, and some people have lost a lot. Like, I think Malatovsky has gained a fair amount of time in the pit cycle, but I think Erfan has lost quite a lot, if I'm correct.
Indeed, he has. I think Irfan has lost some of the most amount of time. Who's that going off the track? Oh, I think that was a back marker. I was thinking that might have been Abe Santama, and that would have really brought the race together, but Abe Santama having probably a very good race, having a good time in...
Yes.
Yes.
It's not over yet. The gap has stayed quite similar to Steve Stevenson, so maybe those difference in tyres isn't all that. So I'm going to see what the gap is. Okay, never mind. He's gained 6/10 in one sector, so
Yes.
scratch what I said. Now we're going to turn attention to the gap on Morris, and that has come down by 7/10. So it's going to be a sprint to the line for these two. Lima might even get him if the drop-off is that bad on those tyres, but it's going to be interesting. It's not over yet. The fight for the win, maybe, but the fight for the podium is still very much alive.
Yeah, it looks like Steve Stevenson not having a good time on those tires at all. He's going a whole second slower than Abe Santama that last lap alone. Paula Lima currently also very slow behind James Morris. He's about 5/10 slower than James Morris per lap. And James Morris nearly matching Abe Santama's pace. So I think with that, what do you say, 7/10 advantage to Steve Stevenson per lap, I think... Yeah, that'll
Maybe
be
about
very
10
close.
seconds ahead by the end,
No,
roughly, which
very,
is
very close.
quite a lot. Looking down into the AM battle
Dmitry
now.
Tarasenko having a battle with Ralph Vandermeer for 23rd place. Benjamin Koo and Dimas Adiasta might have come together there, because there is the overlay going a bit wild. But Dmitry Tarasenko in the McLaren. Now, do you have any experience in the McLaren, and is it much different how what's the big difference between it and the Aston Martin? Because I know you've got a very good amount of experience in the Aston Martin from Season 7 and beyond that.
It's an interesting one, actually, because it's a fact that not a lot of people know about me. But when I started out on Xbox, my first car was actually the McLaren for a short time. I started out driving that, so my kind of whole driving style came from driving around that without any setup. So I drove it on stock. Wasn't very good in it, but it's quite an odd car because it's very low down to the ground. It is quite long compared to the rest of the other cars. So if my knowledge of physics is correct, which it probably won't be, it will have quite a low center of gravity, which makes it really sketchy over bumps and curbs and whatnot. We see it all the time. People complain about the McLaren over curbs. It's almost as bad as the Ferrari. So I do have experience in it. Compared to the Aston, it's a little more pointy, but it just ultimately isn't as quick as the other cars over a whole season, like a whole calendar. If you take all the tracks, McLaren is really nowhere, and not a lot of people choose it anymore for that reason. You might see that change in the new update, but compared to something like the AMR or the M4 or the Bentley, which I used to drive on Xbox as well, you can kind of see a pattern with the style of cars I drive here. Those kind of cars are a lot more dependable in a race than the McLaren, and overall quicker, I'd say. You look at the front, you see mostly M4s, and then you see no McLarens until P24. So,
I do remember.
Well, one thing I just want to.
I do remember that the McLaren was very, very understeery from the time that I was driving. And you have to like take out all the wing in order to make it anywhere close to, you know, oversteering or anything like that. So maybe on a track like this where there's a lot of, don't know, corners that tighten up and all of that might not help out the McLaren at all. But
no, definitely not.
Yeah.
Now, I've noticed something. Lima has gained a lot of time on Morris, who hasn't really made any inroads. So at some point, Morris has made some kind of mistake. Costa's lost a fair chunk of time to all of those guys ahead of him. So the gap between like P5, 6, 7, and 8 was all fairly steady. There's nothing really going on there. But Lima is actually closing in on Morris. So to me, the tables have turned again in Lima's favour. If he can keep up with Morris while Morris eventually closes on Stevenson, who now has a 4.5 second gap to Santana already, we could see a three-way scrap for the final podium spots.
I hate to say it, but it looks like James Morris might have had some sort of collision or maybe a trip to the wall, because he's got a very wrecked front end, if you can see it.
Let me change my view.
So.
Oh, I do see on the front right.
Yeah, the front. I mean, it just looks like the whole front, and yeah, the front right indeed. A lot of damage on the car. He did have a 50. He had a 56.1. The lap that you said that he was losing a lot, and that last lap as well, 55.4. Considering the fact that he's on new tires, not very great for James Morris and his fight for the podium.
The AM fight. For the lead of the AMs, it's going down right as we speak.
Oh, let's have a look at this. Rafif Prestista and Gatti Balash. Now, they are very close on pace as well. It looks like Rafif actually 3/10ths quicker than Gatti. Did a 56.3 that last lap. But can Rafif get him through the second sector here? Probably won't get him through the first sector at all. But it is a Honda versus BMW. Honda, a pretty unpredictable car for myself. I have no clue.
Yeah.
It is horrible to drive sometimes.
Yep, I know that all too well.
Yeah. But Rafif, in the all-loved BMW, it looks like on the stream, we love to say.
As it should be.
Yeah.
Best car in the game. Not biased at all.
Not biased. Not biased.
But
yeah, Rafif, ooh, going very wide and catching that gravel. And not good.
Never mind, that fight is no longer a fight.
No longer a fight at all. And so is Paula Limmer's. Yeah, Paula Limmer's fight is coming. Yeah, it's very weird. It looks like James, considering the fact that he's got a broken front end, he still did a 54.9.
and he's still closing on Stevenson.
He's still trying
I think
to close
that
on
is as much as Stevenson losing time, because that car is losing nearly 8 tenths, 7, 8 tenths a lap to Santama.
Yeah.
Those tyres are really affecting him now. I'll get word at the end, as I said, but I don't know where to look. There's fights for the lead in AM, there's fights for the podium in Pro, and there's Hutama trying to get past one of the M4s. That's a back marker? Never mind. And Falkenberg looking like he's getting some practice in trying to pass Clayton here, down in P29. He was saying he thinks he's going to finish last. Well, you're not. You're fighting for something that isn't last. So we'll see how that goes. I'll keep an eye on it. There's lots of close fights at the moment, so I don't really know where to look.
Well, there is Ganahari Hutama, who was he pole sitter, I think? No, he wasn't. He was pole sitter for the AMs. Currently 2 or 3 tenths away from Benjamin Bidalf in the Mercedes. Sadly, a very unlucky, I guess, race for Ganahari Hutama this time out. Mohammed Bintang, yellow flag for him. It looks like he was off into the gravel, and now he got passed by Benjamin Bidalf and Ganahari Hutama. And that promotes Ralph Vandermeer also up into, I'd say, P8 in the AM split. Vin Falkenberg, as you say, also fighting with Harry Clayton. Very, very close. And he's also got a very hungry Limpar Bertol behind him, trying to lap these two. But it is very hard in racing, isn't it? If you are getting blue flagged while fighting for position, you don't really know what to do. But Vil Falkenberg, he knows what he needs to do. He needs to get past Harry Clayton here as they come through the Michael Schumacher race. And, well, Vin Falkenberg knowing best, as Harry Clayton went very, very wide. And Vin Falkenberg now ahead of Harry Clayton, and now he can finally give, obey to the blue flags, so Limpar Bertol can get fired. Yeah, exactly. He might do it just at the end of the straight, I feel, so he doesn't lose too much time. And will he do it?
I've got to give credit to Berthold. I've got to give credit to Berthold in that car, because we know some drivers who can hurl that Nissan around really, really quick, like Tommy Lyon, very quick in that Nissan. I don't know how, because it's an older car. It's not a car that you would normally consider as competitive, but he's holding his own in P3 and AM at the moment, and for all we know, if there's an incident between the front two and AM, that could be a win for him in the Nissan, which is very impressive.
Yeah, I don't know, actually. I feel like the Nissan gets slept on a bit too much, because in these seasons, all the time, whoever chooses the Nissan is surprisingly quick. Like, obviously, the likes of Tommy Lydon. There was Patrick Starr, who was in the top 5 most of the time. There's obviously Limpar Berthold as well. It looks like the Nissan might not be such a terrible car like we all think, but maybe there's just a certain way of driving it that we just don't know. Then yeah, the Nissan surprisingly good on a lot of these tracks, and might have its own quirks that it does handle like a boat, and in the rain it is not good at all. As Matas now going alongside Camille Taha for 10th place through the final sector. Matas sadly losing that position as he was fighting for it. Camille Taha able to keep 10th place ahead of Matas, and these two have a history as well. They usually are very close to each other. Both of them fear each other. I think Camille Taha might fear Matas a bit more, and well, who wouldn't? But Matas keeping it very clean so far. He's not lost too many positions, not gained too many positions. He's only lost 1 position from the start, and looks like he's lost quite a lot of time coming through the gravel, yeah. So won't be having a look to overtake Camille Taha right now.
I'm looking at the front gaps again. It's very impressive with, like you said, that amount of front end damage. We don't know exactly the amount. For all we know, it could just be visual damage. But 5 seconds now, the gap to Stevenson, who is still dropping off, and he's completely dropped Lima. Like, Lima is completely in the distance. So he's on his own now.
He's doing 9/10 a lap quicker than Steve Stevenson right now.
Wow.
So my maths is not great, but this could go down to the line, I feel. There's 11 minutes to go.
It could.
5 seconds gap. He's going 9/10 quicker per lap.
5 laps.
I mean...
Roughly 5-6 laps. I mean, that's 4 tenths in one sector. He's going to be on him.
He's definitely going to be on him.
However, we saw that M4 was not that quick in a straight line, and with the front end damage, that won't help. So he's going to be hard done by to get past, but he definitely has the pace over 1 lap in clean air at least. So, oh, this is tasty. It's tasty. But Lima seems to be out of it, and Costa's actually doing the exact kind of pace that Morris is and closing in on Lima as well. So there's positions to be decided. P4, P5, P2, P3. Abe's gone.
As
He's
always.
practically in race 2 already, so...
And Matas getting ahead of Camille Taha finally through the same corner that he lost time to him. And, well, will Matas be able to keep that position for this lap? We'll see as he comes through the very deadly chicane for both the Porsche and the Ferrari, and he keeps it nicely under control. Very close.
Taha went airborne.
Oh, did he? I did not catch that.
From my screen, at least. Not fully, he kept it, but the whole car came off the ground as far as I saw, but don't trust my eyesight. Trust the replay.
Yeah, it looks like Matas will be keeping that position from Camille Taha. And, well, a very good job indeed. He came into this race with, well, little to no practice at all. He was saying in the chat about how there are so many alien drivers joining all of a sudden. And you know what? To come into this race and qualify 10th and stay 10th is a very good job indeed. Just like Patrick Slowick, only started 9th, and he has kept 9th position as well. Now, I think those are some of the best sort of races that you can have when you come into the race, you qualify the same position as you finish. You know, it's not upsetting to finish in the same place that you qualified, I think.
You can do better, but
yeah,
it's not a negative.
No,
like for me personally, if I came into a race with no practice, qualified in P10, finished in P10 in like a competitive field, I'd be happy with it. But if I qualified P10, dropped to P12, I'd be a bit frustrated. Ideally, the goal is always to finish higher than you qualify.
Of course.
That's the priority, but the main aim is to just not lose positions. And that's what Matas and Slowick have done. So fair play to them, especially in the Ferrari around here, because it's not an easy car. Erfan in the first 2-3 laps showed that perfectly through probably not any fault of his own. The suspension on this car, as everyone knows in this game, is completely broken. So he's done a good job to keep it out of the walls. I hope I haven't cursed him because I will get told off by Matas if I have. But at the moment, just keeping an eye on the front battle. And Taha's actually, speaking of, I said he went airborne, but he's lost. And now, one more position for these two front AM guys, and they're actually going to be in the top 10, which is a good achievement for them. Yeah,
and Rafif still trying to battle Gatti for first place. He has kept him, within sight. He sometimes loses, sometimes gains that 10th or a couple of tenths per lap, but it looks like Gatti is going to be the favorite for the win. Meanwhile, James Morris still gaining about 5 tenths a lap to Steve Stevenson. Paula
not
Lima.
Enough.
Yeah, it's not going to be enough at all.
Not enough
and
for this race.
Tim Costa, as you said, he was gaining a lot on Paula Lima. Well, that pace has completely dropped. He's going about 5 tenths slower than him per lap. So
interesting. This race has been quite a back and forth sort of race, with people gaining pace and losing it and then gaining it again. And a very an interesting show, because we can never tell who's like pushing or not based on that. But the gap between third, fourth, and fifth is all roughly around 4 seconds. I think the main fight at the moment will probably be for the AM win. I'll keep an eye on everything, but everyone's kind of, I think, ultimately with 6 minutes to go, you're sort of bringing it home.
Yeah.
So unless you're right behind someone, you're just going to want to survive and make sure you finish the race. So I think there's an element of that settling in. But like they say in racing, it's never over till it's over. You can literally have an engine failure coming across the line in F1, and that could cost you a win. We've seen it before in the past, so
Yep.
you could hit that curb on the final lap and spin off and lose like 3 positions. So we'll have to wait and see.
Indeed we will. Rafif has gained a couple of tenths on this lap alone to Gatti Ballas, but it's not going to be enough at all. He's still 1.2 seconds behind. He probably has a bit of slipstream. I'm not sure how much, because he's, well, actually no, I don't think he's got any slipstream. He's pretty far back. We can actually have a look on his onboard.
Lima just dipped a wheel in the gravel. Got away with it though.
Yeah, Rafif going very wide, making those crucial mistakes.
Yeah, that's probably the final nail in his coffin for that win. And there has been some kind of incident that he could get caught up in. I'm just looking at that.
Chris Rye is going backwards.
That's the exact kind of thing that I was talking about. Like, the wrong timed incident could completely change a race, and he was very lucky to get away with that.
Yeah, Abe Santama losing, what's that, like 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. Oh, he lost 4 seconds in that one little skirmish, whatever happened there. I'm not sure, but yeah.
Yeah, it looked like, I think it was the 21 of Rise that may have spun, and then another car got caught up in it, and Abe just had to try and pick his way through, but he's still got 6 seconds.
Yeah.
Morris is now gaining back a little bit on Stevenson, so it could end up coming down to one final chance on the final corner for him if he puts in those laps and properly pushes, because if we look on the mini-map, I don't know if you have it up, but there is a lot of traffic in front for these guys.
Indeed there is. With James Morris, though, only gaining about 6 tenths per lap now. It's not as impressive as his 9 tenths a lap, gain, but...
Oh, this is not ideal for Stevenson. There's battles going on right in front of him.
Yeah, he's got Harry Clayton. I think Harry Clayton will get out of the way. He's not battling anyone at all. But yeah, in front of him, he's got quite the amount. I think that's Steve Stevenson actually. Yes. And that is James Morris. Hold on, they're actually pretty close. I did not notice that at all.
Yeah, they're a little bit closer now.
And there is.
Oh, wait a minute. The AMs are now close again.
Oh yeah,
so
Rafif.
Maybe it wasn't. Oh, I feel like we might have a dive here at some point because it's going to get all...
Oh, there was nearly contact there through the first corner. He had the better traction. Gatti, though, parking it straight on the apex. A very good job indeed. And it looks like Gatti has had some sort of problem. He lost 6 tenths in that last lap. He did a 57.5, which is very unlike him. But Rafif, well, he's going to be hoping that those mistakes keep on coming in for Gatti and he can gain and gain and... Well, who knows? Maybe in these 3 minutes he can get that win. Though it's looking pretty unlikely now. He's lost, 5 tenths in the first sector alone. You never know.
Morris now has a little bit of the traffic to deal with. It took a while for Stevenson to get past that Audi. I'm not sure which one that is. It's number 14. Is that 14? I can't read. Whatever. He's still got one more car. And that is the 25 of Palin, who has, to be fair to him, got back up to P16 after all of the stuff that's gone on for him today. He's been in the wars, but he's somehow come out of it in the top half, roughly. So it's a commendable performance to recover that. But that could all unravel if he gets on the wrong side of Steve Stevenson here, which he almost does, but... Stevenson now clear and has probably about 2 laps to go, so unless Morris can pull a miracle out, I don't think it's going to happen for him.
I don't think it's going to happen either, but James Morris, 2.8 seconds, he's going to be thinking what he might have done better, and he's gone off track through the Michael Schumacher S's, but might James Morris be thinking that if he didn't have whatever collision or trip to the wall, that he could have been in P2 because he lost a substantial amount of time. He lost about 2 seconds in that skirmish, and that would have been about a second. Exactly, it would have been right on the back of Steve Stevenson at this moment. So, on one side, you might think...
He's primarily got to focus on not going into the back of the Audi here, because last lap, that Audi was really on the ragged edge to a chicane. and it's looking a little bit of the same again. And he's definitely had to slow down a bit more then. But on the final lap, Carboni with a drive tour on the final lap, that's going to hurt. He's going to be kicking himself for that. And that was the top 5 position in AM, but
yeah, now that's going to come
here
down.
we go then.
Well, final lap. James Morris sadly losing quite a lot of time behind Brandon Draws. And yeah, he's definitely not going to get P2. But you know what? For one final time, if there's no battles going on, I think there is actually a battle. There is Ethan Reed and Mohammed Bintang fighting for 24th place. 3/10 the gap. They've also got a... Oh, they're also being blue flagged. That is Mata Sidikeskis who's behind them. Ethan Reed, well, he came into this race hoping that he could possibly pull out a win, maybe a podium position in the AM. Sadly, that did not happen at all. He's a long way down, but that's definitely going to be hurting his chances of winning the championship, like he said. Ethan Reed, though, 4/10 as we speak, trying to catch Mohammed Bintang. And I don't think it's going to happen.
Behind both of these guys.
No, I don't think
it's funny. You're right. They were always close together. Mattis and Reed, despite being on different laps, they're still back to back.
Yeah. Oh, and Ethan Reed trying to go for a diver here on Mohammed Bintang, nearly making contact and maybe making Mohammed Bintang a bit confused, maybe a bit scared, because that was a dive from a century, I feel like. Maybe Mohammed Bintang did break a bit more, but... a bit earlier, I mean. But, wow, Ethan Reed, that was a big dive. A big opportunistic dive as now the final lap for these guys. And when is Abe Santaman going to come across the line? He's going to come across the line now. And this is his first win for Season 8. And I think that's, what, like 131st billionth win in VGTR alone. Steve Stevenson comes across the line to get the runner-up spot. And James Morris in third. He might have been hoping, and he's only 2.3 seconds behind Steve Stevenson in that final.
What could have been?
What could have been for James Morris? But there is still a very good start to his season, and well, he knows now who he is going to be battling in the next race, which is going to be Watkins Glen.
Amazing circuit. It's not over yet, though. Hold on.
Yeah, Ethan Reed.
Fight. There is a massive amount of traffic, so this could completely
Ethan Reed,
blow up in the final
1/10.
You know what?
Is ahead of Mohammed Bintang. Is he ahead of him for sure? Yes, he is. He's going to be covering the inside.
There's a fight. There's a fight.
I know. I'm looking.
Into the final chicane. Oh no!
Oh, Mohammed Bintang going very wide, and so was Agati Ballot. Wait, did Rafif get the P1? Hold on.
I was telling you, there was a battle for the AM lead right in the chicane. They made contact.
I was looking at the battle of Ethan Reed, but Rafif taking P1 on the final lap. Wow.
I think that will be a penalty.
You think that'll be a penalty?
Yeah.
Something that I might have missed then, but nevertheless.
Come on, Artie. You're the main commentator. You got to be on it.
I was on it. I thought you were talking about Ethan Reed here.
Oh my God.
Anyway, Rafif getting that P1, but as you say, might get a penalty.
Yeah, I don't think it's a case of I'm not the stewards, but I'm going to take a quick look and replay there just to see what happened.
There was definitely contact. And it
actually, you know what? Ballas did kind of turn in a little bit.
He did. Well, I'm just looking at your screen.
Interesting. Well, we'll have to leave that to the stewards, but...
Stewards have to decide that one.
Yeah.
On track at least, Prahastya in the 420, a funny number, ends up taking that win.
Yeah.
On the final corner.
Same as Abe Santima, taking that crucial first win for him. I think he might not make it to the next race. We'll see. I think he indicated that he might not be here, but nevertheless, a very, very, very dominant race win, I think. That's 8 seconds ahead of Steve Stevenson. Steve Stevenson obviously on his old tyres. James Morris was very close. What could have been maybe P2, maybe he would have stayed P3. Paulo Limo also falling back towards the end of the race. He ended in 4th and James Costa in 5th. And that is your top 5. Well, You like that race?
That was definitely a good race. It was a very, very explosive first race of the season. Lots of stuff going on. It settled down a bit towards the end, but right at the last minute, what did I tell you? I said it's not over till it's over, and that traffic at the end could have just cost what's his name? I always forget these new people. Could have cost Ballast that. He could have cost him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Indeed.
Wow.
What a race! I'm kind of speechless to be fair, because that was it was an action-packed race, but it wasn't a dirty race. I would say it was a very good, clean action, a ton of overtaking, a ton of everything going on, and everything was just all over the place. You know, with the pit stops, with the crashes, with the overtake. It was just insane today. I'd say insane.
Yeah. Well, I have one question to ask you. Who's your driver of the day?
Ooh,
I don't know if you do this normally, but...
well, we don't really do that at all. But driver of the day, I think I have to give it to... it has to be Abe Santama, who came down from 3rd place all the way up into 1st. It could be also a bit of James Morris, because he, he had, the down moments, but he always kept it up. Lloyd saying that Felix is the driver of the day. Brandon draws as well. Good point. Yeah, he was last.
Yeah, Brandon draws.
He was last, and he, I think, ended, what was that in? I didn't really catch it. I think
P17.
P17, there we go. That was the 13th place game for him.
4 in the AMS as well. Was last and went to P40 AMS, yeah.
Yeah.
Good job, man.
Good job indeed. Well, I think that is the end for this race. Tomorrow is the charity stream, the 4 hour of Silverstone, which you yourself, Ben Langford, will be participating in indeed. So be sure...
One of my 2 races.
Yeah, indeed. So be sure to donate money to screw this guy over, because we'd love to see that.
Make me suffer.
Make him suffer indeed. And next race will be Watkins Glen, where I will not be here, but these two will probably keep you company if I set it up all along. And there is a rally. There is a rally championship as well. I forgot to mention that. The rally championship starting today on Rally 2.0. So if you want to join our Discord and see what that's all about. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you to the co-commentators for joining me here today. And I hope you have a great rest of your day, and see you later.